Hello friends, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. Today we are having a very chill sit down video where we kind of recap 2024 and build out my 2025 mood board. So let's jump in. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. My anxiety is incredibly high today. I'm going on a date. My first date actually in 8 years. So I'm very nervous. So I apologize if it comes off on screen. I thought it would be nice to kind of just sit down and do this sort of low-key, chill kind of video, hoping that it would kind of like calm me down a little bit. This is like my happy place here doing YouTube stuff. So that's what we're doing. Today I'm gonna just recap some of the highs and lows of 2024 if you've been around this year. It has been a journey. We've had some really cool and incredible and wonderful opportunities, and then we've also had some really big losses, some heavy grief, some turbulent mental health. So it's been a year. It really truly has. So I thought we could just kind of talk about the highs and lows, and then also, as I was saying, build out my 2025 mood board so that we can kind of envision, dream, if you will, for this upcoming year, or the year we're currently in. By the time you're seeing this, we're probably a couple weeks into January. It is January 3rd, but before we got into the video, don't forget to go down below and hit the subscribe button. It is totally free, and I'll let you know when I upload new videos. As you all know, I'm starting grad school, I have a new job, so the uploading schedule is chaos. So if you actually want to see when videos are coming out, make sure you are subscribed and have the notification bell turned on. I have been posting quite a bit in terms of shorts, so at the bare minimum, you'll see me that way. I'm also posting on TikTok, Instagram. We have the Fable book club. There's just really a lot going on. I am chronically online. Anyway, all that to say, you can follow me on all the social medias. Now, without further ado, let us jump right on in. Okay, so I am gonna be using my iPad. I just have Procreate open, and I'm gonna just be scribbling things down. As I mentioned, or maybe I didn't, I can't remember, I created a Pinterest board that kind of has my mood board for 2025 on it, and so I'm just gonna kind of be consolidating it all into one place on this like one specific board. So that is the plan here. And while we do it, we can talk about last year and the things that, you know, went well, the things that didn't, kind of recap the year, if you will. So let us dive right on in. I actually want to pull this up. God, can you guys hear the squirrels in my attic? Oh gosh. Okay, so I guess as I start to just like download the pictures and stuff, let's talk a little bit about my 2024 vision board. I'm gonna put it up here on the board or on the screen just so you can kind of get an idea of what I kind of had hoped would happen this past year and what actually did. So I guess like at first I really wanted to take some pottery classes and just kind of learn new art forms. I did not take any pottery classes this year, but I did sort of hone my knitting skills a little bit more. I knit. I'm trying to think. I played a lot with my dad's 3D printer. I did a lot in terms of baking and kind of going outside of my comfort zone in that way. Honestly, I didn't really learn any new crafting skills, I don't think. Update, I was having my mom review this video because I'm a chronic oversharer, and she reminded me I learned how to quilt this year. Duh, I did learn a new crafting skill. There you go. Up next, I wanted to go on a solo trip. I did actually do that, and I did that pretty early on in the year, actually. I took a trip to New York. I went and visited my Aunt TT. We just call her TT, but I'm saying Aunt for your benefit. TT is 87, I think. And she is my great aunt. She was my grandmother's sister, and she lives in Queens. And if you guys didn't know this, I'm originally from New York, and a lot of my family still lives up there. So I actually went up there more times than I was planning this year, which we'll get into, but three times. I went in February, which is when I stayed with TT in Queens, and we saw, me and my cousin Jennifer, we saw Merrily We Roll Along with Daniel Radcliffe and with Jonathan Groff and Lindsay Mendez, and I truly was on cloud nine. I could not believe I was breathing the same air as Daniel Radcliffe. Crazy town. I was very, very, very excited about getting to do that, and the show was phenomenal, so just so blessed and grateful to have been able to see it. So yeah, that was my solo trip for the year. And then of course I also went to Ireland this year. Now that was not really a solo trip. There were a couple of solo days on the trip, but it was not a solo trip in its entirety, if that makes sense. I went with a friend of mine, and we both kind of had, basically while I was there my grandfather died, and so my flight ended up getting changed and she left before me. And because the flight, I basically, instead of flying into DC, I was flying into New York City, and the flight into New York City was later in the day, and so she kind of left early in the morning, and then I left later in the afternoon, evening kind of time, so I had an entire day in Dublin just to myself. And so that was like a solo-ish thing in and of itself. And then I did a day in Galway on my own. Stargazing is definitely something I did this year. Actually, my dad and I love stargazing. My younger brother does too, but it's something my dad and I often do together. And so he and I, the week before Christmas, we kind of like set up camp outside in our backyard, and we watched this meteor shower. It was really cool. We saw a bunch of meteors, which was so exciting and just a lot of fun and so miraculous to do every time. This year were the Northern Lights all throughout the US as well, and we missed them. Unfortunately, we missed them. So I definitely would love to see the Northern Lights this year, if at all possible. A couple of things that definitely did not happen this year. I had initially planned on potentially house shopping this year, just kind of like looking for houses, and then I ended up quitting my job and worked for myself for about 5 months, and it was not incredibly lucrative. And then the other thing that I was planning on starting to save for was opening up a bookstore. Now, I did start doing the research for this, so that process has started, but not like in any sort of meaningful way. Like, no finances have been secured or determined or all that, so that didn't really happen this year in the way that I had planned for it to, which is, just as a reminder, completely fine. 1, it's okay if your dreams change. 2, it's okay if they take longer than you're hoping that they do. Sometimes it's really all about timing, and life is, if anything, unexpected. We can always expect for life to be unexpected and unpredictable, and I mean, this year really solidified that for me. What other things did I want to do? I wanted to go to more run fairs this year. I didn't go to any, but I did go to my first con. I went to Collecticon this year, and I feel like that kind of counts. In my mind, they're kind of in the same genre, you know? So that was really cool. I actually ended up getting to do that with my whole family. This cup is actually from Collecticon. It was a gift from my mom for Christmas. I'll show you what else. I also got this bangin' Sailor Moon tote bag, also a gift from my mom. She bought this Totoro cup for me, and then she bought a Kiki's Delivery Service one for my sister-in-law, and when you bought 2 cups you got a free tote bag. So she gave me the Sailor Moon tote bag with it, which I'm loving. I fully grew up on Sailor Moon. It was one of my favorite shows of all time, so getting to like get the little tote bag just felt so nostalgic and cute, and I love it. Let's see, I wanted to go to more museums this year. I definitely went to museums this year. I can't say I went to any new ones, but I definitely spent some time at the VMFA, which is the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. It's one of my personal favorite museums, and actually one of my favorite artists has a pretty large body of work in that museum. Kowaise Hasui, I 10 out of 10 recommend looking up his work. He's a Japanese printmaker, and not just a Japanese printmaker, he's basically like the father of Japanese printmaking, and his work is just absolutely stunning. I wanted to read more this year, and in fact, I missed my reading goal by a mile. So last year I read 40 books, and that was huge for me because I honestly am a pretty slow reader, and so I was quite shocked I was even able to read that much. This year I think I read 21, 22 books, something along those lines. I spent a lot of this year really struggling with my mental health, and it kind of affected my reading, which I thought was interesting, but I was in basically a giant reading slump for a big chunk of the year. I also started reading the Throne of Glass series, which I am enjoying, but they are hefty in the sense that there's a lot of world building, and so they've kind of just taken me some time to get through them. I've literally been reading Heir of Fire for 6 months, so don't ask me. A couple of other things that I wanted to do this year that I just didn't get a chance to do. I wanted to make pasta. Didn't actually do that. I have a pasta maker. I made cannoli this year, which felt similar because you also run it through the pasta machine. But I didn't actually make pasta. So definitely something I want to do early this year. And then the last thing on my list for last year was to bake new things, which I absolutely got to do. I made my first wedding cake. I made so many new different cupcakes. I made homemade Oreo cakesters. I made cannoli for the first time. I just got to experiment and make some really fun different desserts. I also got to go back to the basics and make some of my classic favorites. I got to make macarons this year. I am constantly making fun cakes. I made myself a lemon cake for my birthday. I made a bunch of different cakes. I did my first cake testing ever. I had a bride and groom come and they tried 4 different little cakes, and they picked one for their wedding, and then I made one for their wedding over the summer, which I also ran that wedding, and discovered I don't want to be a wedding planner, I don't think, but it was a fun experience and I'm glad that I did it. So yeah, I mean, lots and lots of cool, fun, and exciting things that happened last year. So that was my vision board for 2024. That was a lot of talking. Hopefully I will whittle that down for you. Now, in general, 2024, the year itself was just like hard to describe truly. So many amazing and cool things happened this year. I went on a solo trip to New York, saw Daniel Radcliffe on Broadway, got to go to the Harry Potter store in New York City, which was really cool. Got to go to Ireland. I went to Collecticon. I got to go to the beach a few times. I quit my job that was absolutely suffocating the life out of me. I got the opportunity to work for myself, which was really cool. I got to work with incredible brands like Abercrombie, Goodwill of Central and Coastal Virginia. In fact, I was in a commercial for Goodwill of Central and Coastal Virginia. We did a 2-day shoot. It was so fun, and I love that team and the people over there and everything that they're doing. I got to go to a really fun concert with my parents, and my mom is a huge fan of Matthew West, who's a contemporary Christian artist. And so I got to go and buy those tickets for my parents and go with them and just kind of experience that together, which was really fun. Yeah, just lots of really cool and exciting and wonderful things happened this year. And then on the other side of that, I actually ended up getting really sick with COVID this year, and because I have asthma, it unfortunately was compounded, and frankly my lungs have still not fully recovered. So I ended up going to the hospital, and it was COVID symptoms just exacerbated basically because of my anxiety. Yeah, it was terrifying, and actually kind of the catalyst of that anxiety was work. And I got home and I had the worst panic attack I've ever had, maybe ever, and it scared the shit out of me. It scared the shit out of my mom, and both of us were just like, I was just holding on to her, like grabbing onto her, sobbing into her arms, and she looked at me and she was like, "Sweetheart, you have to quit your job." And so I went back to work. I was still very much not recovered from COVID, and I only had a very limited amount of sick time. I gave my notice, and I was like, okay, it is time. So I gave my notice. I worked full-time here, as you guys know, and I just spent a lot of time over the summer, particularly trying to heal. Then, just on the heels of kind of getting out of this like rut mentally, I mean, I was still not okay fully, but just on the heels of that, my grandfather died, and very unexpectedly. I was in Ireland when it happened, and not being able to be immediately with my family, particularly be with my mom, was devastating and really hard to come to terms with, and it was just really hard. I actually literally talked to my grandfather the day before he passed away, and he was fine, and it was just so bizarre. And my grandpa and I were very, very close. It is very hard to lose someone you love so much and who changed and shaped your life in such big and important and extraordinary ways. Yeah, losing him was not easy. Okay, I took a little break because I had to change the battery on the camera, but honestly I think I needed it too. Yeah, anyway, it's been 2024 was a really hard year. Oh, and also, how can I forget? On New Year's Eve, we hit 7,000 subscribers on this channel. I'm sorry, are you kidding me? My goal for this year was 10,000, or last year if you will. We did not hit that goal, but hitting 7,000 is incredible. I'm just so beyond grateful, and especially because of how chaotic the uploading schedule became. Like, I'm just so beyond grateful. Now, that leads us really well into the 2025 vision board. 10,000 subscribers is in fact on the 2025 vision board. Up next, I would really like to visit TT again. She, like I said, she's my 88-year-old aunt or 87-year-old aunt. I would really like to go back to New York, maybe just like do a long weekend up there in Queens and just spend some time with her. She is one of my favorite people, and I just want to spend as much time with her as is possible, and this was really sort of reiterated by the loss of my grandfather this year, so I would like to go and visit her again. Another place I'd like to really go is Canada. My travel I kind of have been trying to save up enough money to go on one trip a year, like one big international trip a year. So last year was Ireland, the year before that was Scotland and England. This year I'm really, really hoping to go to Banff National Park in Canada. So that is the big trip, hopefully. Go on a date. It's almost like I'm literally doing that tonight. So that's great. And I did want to put this on here because like I'd made this mood board before I had asked this guy out. I am gonna put this still on here, even though I know I've already done it, but it was, well, I haven't done it at this moment, but by the time you're seeing this, I will have done it. So go on a date. This is something I really want to do. I am finally feeling safe enough and ready enough to do it. I would really like to see the Northern Lights. Now, because I'm going to Canada, I feel like that might up the ante here. Like, it might make it easier to see them. I missed them this year when they were on the East Coast. Very disappointing. I saw all the pictures, but I did miss them. I didn't know they were happening, which is crazy because I'm such a space and like moon and star girl, so I can't believe I missed that happening. A fun thing I really want to do is host an ACOTAR themed party with a bunch of my girlfriends, a couple of my guy friends who have read the books. I just think that would be so fun. And I kind of talked to a bunch of my friends about it already, and they all would love to do it too. So I would like to do that sometime in the spring or summer. A couple of crafty things I'd like to do. Learn how to make stained glass art. I think that would be so fun. And I also want to learn how to make glass beads. So I guess basically I want to learn more about glass work. Let's see, I would like to read more than I read this year. You guys know I mentioned before I like missed my reading goal by like a mile. So I'd like to read more. I'd also like to just read the books I already own, or the books that are continuations in series I've already read, but maybe those books haven't come out yet. So like Onyx Storm is coming out on January 21st. I'd like to really, you know, I'm gonna read that. I pre-ordered it. I'm so excited, contemplating taking a day off of work just so I can read it. Life is short, like why not, you know? Yeah, I'd like to read more again this year. I think that'll be good. I'd also like to get my office space, like in this area that you're kind of sitting in right now, like my desk office space in my room, set up in a way that like feels cozy and homey and just good and correct. And yeah, I'm thinking about potentially painting my room, but the problem is there's like 7,000 gajillion things on the walls, and that would require taking everything down. Another thing I really want to do is make a very hyper realistic whimsical cake. I picked one that I just thought was really cute off of Pinterest. This one doesn't have to necessarily be exactly what I make, but I want to make like a cute, whimsical, sort of woodland creature-y kind of cake. I think that would be so fun. I want to learn how to do the really detailed icing on sugar cookies. For the life of me, I cannot figure it out, and that is so irritating for me as somebody who is a work on commission baker. Like, it just drives me insane that I cannot figure it out. So my hope and goal is to figure that out at some point this year. Okay, and finally, my word for this year is freedom. Freedom felt right for a couple of reasons. I would like to break through some insecurities and sort of obtain freedom from those insecurities. There's just so much that I want to experience in this life, and I want to be able to feel the joy of it all. I want to invest some money in the stock market and just try to find ways to be more financially free. Yeah, so these are kind of my goals for 2025. I would love to know what some of your goals are. Some of you guys already shared them over on Instagram. I got everything from save more money to be financially free, to not buying any books and just reading things on my physical TBR. There we have it. I am so thankful for all of you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while I made this and just, you know, letting me chat with you a little bit kind of about life and everything that kind of happened last year versus everything that is coming up in this upcoming year. I'm just so grateful to be alive and really grateful for all of you. And this year was hard, but I survived it, and you guys survived this year, and we've got this. We're gonna make it through. We are safe, we are okay, we are alive, and let's just take every moment that we're alive and just cherish it. That's what I'm doing. I'm cherishing my life and being alive and being young and having so much life ahead of me, and I'm cherishing the family members I do have and the memories of those that I've lost. We're working our way back to thriving. So thanks so much for coming along with me. This is the 2025 vision board. I want to see yours. If you make some and you post them online, please do tag me. I use Procreate. You could totally use Lemon8 or Shuffles, which is a free collage app made by Pinterest, actually. So if you're using Pinterest pictures, probably be the easiest way, honestly, probably easier than this, to just do it on Shuffles, because you can just pull the pictures directly from that board and put them all together. 10 out of 10 recommend. I'm now regretting not having done that. It's fine. Anyway, I love you guys all so much. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to subscribe down below. It is totally free, and I'll let you know when I upload new videos. I create generally fashion related content, and this year I'm hoping to just sort of make this channel fashion content the majority of the time, but also sprinkle in some more DIYs, some more book related things, romanticizing your life kind of things. The Ireland vlog is coming. Frankly, it was a really heavy trip, and it is just taking me a little bit longer to edit it and sort of figure out how to tell that story, but that will come. I'm probably about halfway through the edit for that. Yeah, more travel vlogs and just romanticizing your life kinds of videos. So if that is what you are interested in, like I said, feel free to subscribe. You can also like this video if you enjoyed it. Again, tag me on Instagram or TikTok or Pinterest or wherever. Oh my gosh, that wind. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys, so don't forget, it costs absolutely nothing to be kind, so be kind to yourself and others. I'll see you next time. Bye! Girl, it's snowing.